Hey everybody, this is Cameron, the writer and director behind Queen of Hearts, a Twin Peaks fan film. I am joined today by my producer as well as Annie Blackburn herself, Madison Bates. How the heck are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing great. So tonight we're going to be talking about Act 4. I'm very excited about this because Act 5, we don't have a date yet, but Act 5 will be coming sooner than later. So I definitely want to make sure we discussed Act 4 prior to that dropping. I'm gonna be honest. Uh, I love the whole film. I was nervous about how people might respond to Act 4 because it was going to get into some pretty interesting and trippy areas, especially regarding Annie's life. And when you see it as an entire film, as one piece, as it was conceived to be, it does kind of it seems like sort of like a flashback slash time travel type, a Black Lodge kind of memory sequence. But taken individually as its own episode was going to be something that was different than just
Definitely.
a side moment in the film. So anyway, Act 4 came out and people were they loved it. They were just like, this is our favorite part, which is really cool because every act that comes out, people are saying this is our favorite part. And then the next one comes out and they say this is our favorite part. So hopefully Act 5 drops and people will say, I love the whole film.
Yeah.
All right. So Act 4, standing by itself, that's kind of like what we're going to be talking about tonight. And any of you watching live, feel free to throw out any comments, questions, please, and we will address them. All right. So talk to us. Act 4. How do you feel about it?
I feel good. I feel it's interesting to see it after, filming it in so many different pieces, not always in order. So to see the whole thing actually put together was definitely a treat, especially put in with the sound and the music, because we all know that just takes it to a whole other level. So it was definitely rewarding to be able to watch the whole thing as one piece. And I totally got pulled in. Like I was part of it, but I'm watching it and I myself am like getting pulled in, like wanting to see what's next. So it was definitely captivating for sure.
I think people were pretty surprised that we pulled off the Black Lodge. And this was something that you and I had talked about ad nauseum, which is look, if we nail something like the Black Lodge, then any other shortcomings that that might happen with the film, and thankfully the film doesn't have too many of those shortcomings. But
So
we thought that if we nail the Black Lodge, we will be forgiven for some other things, maybe. I mean, at that time we didn't even know what those other things could be. We just thought, well, at least people will be given this, and I'm so glad that people really enjoy it because it's not as our Black Lodge isn't as weird, quote unquote, as what we see perhaps in the show or the movie. And that's partly because every person who goes in the lodge has a different experience. And Annie's is more of an isolated feeling, kind of lonely experience rather than, the trippiness that Agent Cooper kind of goes through. And the Black Lodge does something to you or Annie's character that it doesn't do with other people, which is, well, I mean, maybe if you have a different interpretation of season 3, but which is basically like recreate your past, as we've discussed before in the past, that Annie is theoretically so powerful that the Black Lodge fears her, and it's going to make her relive her past as a way of putting her back in that headspace so that if the Black Lodge can't hurt her, it's going to allow Annie to hurt herself, which is basically what happened prior in the past with Annie, but it's going to make her go through it again, make her relive the worst moments of her life right before her suicide attempt.
it's definitely a very it's a very solid concept because, you see this all the time in, sci-fi, ghosts, thinking you're seeing something or thinking you're experiencing something, and then, that being used to trick you in some way into, harming yourself or harming someone else, or, and that, so I definitely thought that was a really solid concept, and enjoyed watching it, because the whole thing just had this really heightened feeling of tension and this really, really palpable kind of like heavy feeling, which again, music and, the sounds really helped with that, as well as, just having a lodge, having the Black Lodge there and being in it.
And we were in it.
We were in it. And while filming, that feeling was definitely there. So it definitely made it very easy to immerse yourself in that headspace.
Because she comes out of her bedroom and she's back in the Black Lodge, and then she comes to the feet of the mother nun, and she looks up, and she's like, get up, child, and you do, and it's like, that's because Annie went to the convent and rebuilt her self-esteem, and so this was kind of that moment, kind of a redo of that moment in the Black Lodge, just kind of quickly. It was just basically like remembering, get up, this is your past, this is not real anymore, you're much stronger than get up. And after that moment, it's Annie seems to be, the rest of the Black Lodge sequence is her kind of figuring out who she is and what her new, not what her new goal is, but basically getting behind that goal. Because once she finds out that Agent Cooper is not the doppelganger that tormented her in the hospital room, and that he is indeed stuck in the Black Lodge, I think that really kind of shakes her out.
And it gives her hope, because she really lost a lot of hope when she thought that, he wasn't who she thought he was. And she lost a lot of confidence in her own sense of understanding.
And her own judgment.
Exactly.
Because she's thinking, I chose the wrong guy again.
Yes. Which was renewed when she finds him, and she's, realizes he's still a good guy. He's still the good guy. And I think that gives her hope as well to kind of pick herself up and move on.
Talking about moving on, you're like hauling butt right through the Black Lodge, running out. And that was something that I was really excited about, because a lot of times in the show and in the movies, they're very, it's camera on a tripod, and characters move towards the camera and away from the camera in a shot. And I really wanted to have sort of this, what would it be like to run through the lodge and have the camera racing through? And I kind of felt like that it needed that urgency. And so when you kind of take off and run, and the camera's right behind you, and then you literally dive onto the woods, and Jackrabbit's Palace is there. And, that was a trippy moment, because that was our first scene we shot.
It was.
So,
yes.
So that was like, again, that scene where you show up at the Jackrabbit's Palace is about this big in the script. And I mean, we shot it pretty fast. It was about 2.5 hours to shoot that scene. But you read it, and I remember that was a scene that kind of stopped a lot of people, because you read it and it says, okay, she sees Jackrabbit's Palace, and I'm paraphrasing, and you run, and you're digging through the dirt, and then you say, all right, I'm ready, come take me, whatever. It's so much more physical when you have to shoot it and play it. And I think even you were a little surprised by the shooting of it. So take us through that.
Absolutely. I mean, when I read the script, I almost skipped over it the first time, because, I wanted to read. I go through and read several different times. I'll read with stage direction, without stage direction, so I can get a feeling of how, it would play out, and it's such a small little blurb of text. And I just kind of, I read through it pretty fast, and I was like, okay. And then when we went to film it, I was like, wow, this is a lot more involved than I remember reading, because this shot and this shot and this shot, and you know, it was a lot more complex than I had originally thought it would be. And you know, we're out there in the middle of the forest, so you know, it was definitely a very, very cool experience for
And
sure.
when you say we're out in the forest, it's just you and me in the woods.
It was the woods too.
Yeah, yeah, right. But I mean, it's cold. Um, you know, the ground was a little harder than we thought it was going to be. Um,
Yes.
Running in the high heels.
And the heels didn't fit. They were, because you know, I had not, that was when, you know, me coming into the role of Annie was new, and so we didn't have, you know, other shoes, and the shoes, they kind of fit, but they were a little too big. So trying to keep them on while I was running in the forest, like in the mud and like on, you know, if the ground is not even or level, it was a challenge to say the
Well,
least.
that's why I was so happy that when you do get buzzed to the White Lodge, that
Yes,
the shoes stay.
exactly. So I'm like, all right, leave those behind. You know,
Right. I almost want to, once the whole film is up, I want to like, you know, I do would love to like cut together something where that like you would see, because a lot of times I left the camera running, and so you see like you and me in the front, like in front of the lens, whatever, like going over the scene and like, you know, getting
mhm.
your shoes like situated, and then you start the shot. And I think it'd be really cool for people to see sort of the whole like the behind the scenes of literally you and me in the woods, like trying to get this done. And I mean, we got it done. And I think the hardest part was if it was just those shots, that would be one thing, but you had to be covered in blood. So that was another thing I was worried about. Like, okay, if like people walk by with their dogs, how, you know, are you gonna have to hide behind a tree or something? And believe it or not, no
Not a
one ever
single
showed
person.
up. Not a
Not
single
a single
person showed
person.
up.
And it wasn't, you know, and beyond, you know, not wanting to scare innocent hikers, there was also, you know, just like wanting to keep the blood makeup consistent, because I did it to myself, did it on the wrong side accidentally, so I had to take it off and then redo it on the right side, and then keep it consistent throughout. So like I'm falling, crawling, you know, running through the woods, and you know, things would come off, I'd have to like reapply, and like all while filming and being the character. So that was a challenge in and of itself. And then also not wanting to, you know, scare anyone into thinking like, you know, some poor girl has been attacked by a wild animal and is like, you know, in the woods needing help. So that was lucky that no one came through.
Well, especially since you're screaming, you know, take me, and like, right, and it's
They'd be
like,
like, who's this crazy girl in the woods? Like, definitely would have had someone like call somebody, because I did not seem okay because I wasn't in the scene.
so Jamie in the chat says, Madison, your performance is blowing me away. The whole thing has given me a whole different perspective on Annie's character. So that's cool.
You.
You know, people have reached out and commented about, you know, I really didn't think too much about Annie Blackbird, and then this movie's kind of, I mean, obviously you could do that with Nadine's character. If you did a whole movie about Nadine's character, you would feel differently about the character because you're immersed in that character. But I think people were surprised about the deep dive that that Act 4 gets into in terms of her past. You know, so just to kind of give you behind the scenes of how I was writing the script. So in the show, Cooper and Annie are talking on their date, and he kind of insinuates about her suicide scar, and she says, you know, it happened because of a boy. And then we find out in Mark Frost's book, The Final Dossier, that her stepdad makes a pass at her on around Christmas, and which is really cool because we got the Christmas tree and everything when you walk in the door. And then the stepdad, Roland makes a pass at you. Your mom walks in on it. He runs off. She chases after him. Now in the book, it says that she literally runs him off the road with her car. Now we didn't show that, but you do hear the car screeching when after they leave the house. So that's kind of, so we're staying within canon. But and the book kind of says that that you went into your suicide attempt then. So I didn't think that when she's talking to Cooper that she's referring to happened because of some boy. I didn't think she was referring to her stepdad. So my idea was, we're just going to do both. We're going to have it be the high school romance that's kind of gone into college a little bit. And we're going to do the stepdad thing. We're going to be true to both canons, mix them together. And I think the way we play it, I think it just makes perfect sense. It is the worst day that somebody could ever imagine.
And the way that I made it, for the character as the character, because, I'm going through the subtext in my head of what, the character is thinking in the moment. And I think that when she does say, it will happen because of a boy, that she's not minimizing what happened, but giving the absolute smallest amount of reasoning, because this horrible traumatic thing that happened was, more than I think she would ever want to talk about on first date.
Right.
So yes, I think that's part of it as well.
Right. Anyway, but seeing it all together, and especially the fact that we shot it so close to Christmas that the family of the house we were shooting at was just like, oh, we could just put the tree back up and get everything ready. And I'm so glad that we did that, because there's something so mournfully beautiful when you walk in from your date with Aaron and you're all alone and you walk into that house and the light is on the tree, from the tree, and then you just slowly, just sadly walk up the stairs to your bedroom. I do really love one of my favorite moments is when after your date with Aaron and he drops you home. I love that long shot of the car coming down the road and you getting out, and it's just like, without any dialogue, it's just, everybody knows exactly how Annie is feeling at that moment. You're just basically being tossed out of the car. I mean, you get out of the car, but it feels like, just I'm done. You almost feel like, even
metaphorically tossed out.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, like, even though you guys break up over the phone, that scene is like, it's the breakup before the breakup. You already feel like
she knows it's coming.
Right. And what's really cool, if you go back and look at it, the whole street is black except for one light, and it's the light of Annie's bedroom because she is in the lodge. Mm-hmm. And so I mean, there's little clues in there, obviously Gateway Lodge Motel and all that, to let you know that this whole place,
the red telephone.
Right. This whole place is in the lodge. I mean, it is a flashback theoretically, but it's
been created.
It's recreated for her. Yes. It's very much like the ending of like 2001, where the aliens recreate a hotel room type of situation so the human doesn't freak out and they can study you, which is what they're doing. They're studying you. They're trying to figure out, because they know that you have gone through a lodge and gotten out. Major Briggs is one that got out, and you're the other one. So, and you're both wanted. And at that point, Major Briggs is now dead. Right. So they want to figure you out and get you. And it's funny because like Jamie's in the chat and she provided one of the voices. I want to thank Jamie for that, for one of the little pixie voices in the when he's like, he's here.
I love it.
And I love it because when you read that moment in the script, some people have said to me, I don't understand this, but okay. I mean, we're in the Black Lodge, so whatever. But my idea is that there is a hierarchy, that we've seen the little man, we've seen, other things in the Black Lodge, but I wanted to suggest that there are creatures or beings in the Black Lodge we have not seen that are even higher than them, that control them. And you start hearing you start hearing the fluttering of the frog moths and in there, and you start hearing the little like pixie voices, and then when the lights go down and the Sycamore Trees song comes on and you back up, which I love that shot of you backing up, and then Cooper walks in, and then you come face to face with Caroline, which is a lot of fun. Which is honestly what the whole film is kind of. There's a lot of other things the film is building to, but that's one of the peaks of the film, which is to tell Annie and Caroline's stories simultaneously back and forth to the point that you guys are in the Black Lodge staring at each other wearing the same dress.
Yep.
So, do you have any favorite moments of Act 4? And just before you say anything, you guys, seriously, we only have about 25 more minutes or so. Throw out any comments or questions in the chat. We'll address them. All right, go ahead.
Please do. I think my favorite part for Act 4 would, that's a tough one. I really like I think my favorite part is the part where we see both timelines converge with Annie's, recreated attempted suicide and Cooper finding Caroline.
So with opera music.
With the opera music. And then I also really enjoy that transition of, the clapping, and then all of a sudden we start to reveal that we've been in the lodge this whole time. And I think that's probably my favorite part of Act 4, just because it's so emotionally visceral and also very supernatural at the same time.
Yeah, and it's like just so emotional too. And I think a lot of people are really kind of taken aback watching the film of like how emotional this is. Cause like I always thought the Twin Peaks is emotional, but some people, think a lot of it's cold or whatever, but we're really playing up the emotions in this. Where, people have commented about how raw this feels compared to like other things that they've seen in the show.
I would agree.
And I think that's just because we're doing a deep dive of a character piece rather than like, I don't know.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, basically what it is. Because like, of course, people comment they love the moment where Cooper's holding Caroline and Wyndham comes up behind him, which, believe it or not, was the first thing we shot with Paul as Wyndham. It was him coming at Cooper with the knife, and I remember
it's kind of perfect.
Yeah, but it was also surprising because I just thought, okay, we'll just do a take and see, kind of what happens. And the way he came out scared everybody. He came out and just did that little sort of dance.
We were like, why is he walking like that? And it was,
but not in a bad way, but just like
like that is a psychopath. Like, he totally had the character really well in hand, and he had the whole emotional yet furious, like he was going through something mentally and at the same time capable of murder. Like, it was very off-putting in the best way when I say that.
Right, because in the My Life, My Tapes Cooper book, it talks about how Cooper still doesn't know that Wyndham stabbed him. Even in the show, he doesn't know that. He goes, Harry, I think he did this, but he doesn't know for a fact. Mm-hmm. But it talks about in the book that when Cooper came to after being stabbed, that he saw Wyndham in the kitchen, like muttering to himself and being crazy. And that's why he got put into an institution. So I definitely wanted to have that moment. But obviously we know Wyndham attacked him, right? And Cooper may not, but we do. So I wanted to show Wyndham throw the knife and kind of get into character, sitting down in the kitchen. And then, obviously Cooper turns around and sees the muttering. And I love the idea of bringing all the spin-off books and things that mention in the show all together into one piece. But yeah,
I think that I really liked how he did that. You said he did that kind of not dance, but like the way he walked, it just incorporated his well, morbidly playful nature.
Mhm.
And I thought that added a whole nother level to it as well.
Absolutely, because we always talked. I always talked with him about like the character and all that. And he had, he'd seen the show and he went back and looked at it, and so I know he was like really into character. I just never with him about like movement, right? So I just wanted to kind of see like, okay, how's he going to come around? I kind of assumed he was just going to kind of come around and just kind of edge closer, but he had sort of this sort of balletic.
Mm-hmm.
And we did it like 4 or 5 times. So there are different takes of him doing different, like some are more extreme, some are less. And I think the one we went with was great, but it was definitely surprising because I was like, oh my God, I don't even have to say anything to him about movement
Nope.
because he's got it.
Got it.
And poor Nico had no idea what was creeping towards him. All right. So we have a few questions here. Let's see. Let's try to. But yeah, keep them coming, guys. We got it. All right. Amy says my favorite part in Act 4 is when Annie first enters her bedroom. That's kind of a fun moment because, like, we gave you that awful bathrobe, which is just like this all hearts. I just thought, okay, nobody in their right mind would probably ever wear this bathrobe. But again, this is an exaggeration of what the Black Lodge assumes what a teenage girl would wear. And you are the Queen of Hearts, right? So, but the towel on your head and the
towel.
I loved it. And just the Noreen made that beautiful wood thing that said Annie Blackburn, and we had the old school phone, which believe it or not, is the phone that Laura Palmer has in her room in the show. So there's kind of another connection there that Annie and Laura both have the same phone, which is always fun. But yeah, I love the fact, and then they put the Thompson twins music over it, where it's like, it's so bizarre, it's like, but like your facial reaction is just classic. And it's a little different than what the script was, because the script said, it's basically the same thing. You walk in to your room, but in the script, it was that you had this basically the ultimate 80s bedroom, teen beat and bop, like magazines, like all over the walls and posters, and it was going to be basically kind of a ticking clock where you just hear the clock and you would just be kind of looking around like, what the heck is going on? Why am I back in my bedroom? And then your mom would come in and bring you the dress and all that. But we just didn't have the time to redo a whole bedroom, and also the house was kind of an hour or so away from us, and so it's just kind of like we didn't have time to do the whole like set dressing. So we kind of went the other way and made it more like a church girl's room, like very very bare, simple. But that doesn't give you a lot to, like, we couldn't do the ticking clock with that room because it was so bare, and you would just be staring at a lot of like space. So we kind of went the other way, which is kind of heighten it up and, put the 80s music over it and have your eyes wide eyed and what the heck, and all that. So we it's the same scene. We just played it a little differently. And I think either one would have worked, but I do find it hilarious when you walk in and because like you're all quiet and you're walking down the Black Lodge hallway and the strobes are going, and then you walk through and all of a sudden it's just like, what is this?
Is the exact word that I would use.
But people really are loving it, so that's great. All right, so let's see here. There he is. Let's see. Zombie 7979 says, did you see yourself becoming close friends with the others, and how do you think I did by setting up the project?
I'm going ahead and go and assume that means, did I become close with any of the other actors?
No, did you see yourself becoming close friends with the actors or other people involved with the film? And then second part was, how do you think I set up the project?
Yes, I did. Everyone was really great to work with and easy to get along with. Definitely we had fun on set. It was a fun experience when we were there. We definitely, it wasn't just it wasn't boring. I'll say that. It was fun to be there. We had a lot of laughs, and we made sure to not take it as we did take it very seriously. We wanted to inject the fun in it too, because that's part of doing it. It's part of creating something amazing, is having a good time while you're doing it. You're going to try harder. You're going to do a better job. So it was great that the cast really gelled and everybody really got along. We, still hear from Nico and Nancy, and, I know Charlotte's doing awesome things. And, yeah, it was really great to make those relationships. And I will, I definitely hold them very near and dear to me because I do move around a lot. As far as the whole setup for the project, it was partially, I was part of the setup because, I was the producer, but that also meant finding locations, set dressing, all kinds of other stuff that would maybe be done by teams or, multiple people.
Right.
So I think, the setup was really both of us. But as far as the whole plan for how everything went, I think it went very smoothly. Like what we filmed at which time, I think Cameron had that ordered very nicely as far as coordinating with which location would be best to use during which time. And that definitely meant that it was filmed out of order, but it did nothing but help the way that we ended up being able to film each scene, because he would have certain scenes filmed later in the process because the location was going to be much easier to find and to use. And I thought that was pretty smart, because then we didn't end up at the end with this, difficult location that, we didn't know if we were going to be able to do it. I mean, unfortunately, that did happen with one because of the pandemic, because everything closed and we, literally couldn't go anywhere. But
Right.
aside from that, I do think everything was set up really well. And I know we all had a really great time filming it. So
Yeah, and I think there was considerable setup prior to you even coming on, because I had been thinking about it and trying to get it off the ground,
mhm.
but we just needed a couple other people to kind of kick it up, so that we could
Yeah.
get there, and we got there. I mean, once Maddie and I got together on this project, I mean, within 3 or 4 months, we were having the script reads and had everything locked and everything. So it went pretty fast. Like once, so I'm glad we did, because if we had waited any longer, we never would have
There was a
finished.
lot of setup. I mean, we definitely did a lot of stuff beforehand. Like you said, we found costumes, we found props, we made sure that we had absolutely everything in hand and everything that we needed before we started. So we knew that it was going to be done right.
Hmm. Jamie says, "What was it like to wear the dress? I imagine it would be quite emotional." And I believe someone else asked, "Where did that dress come from?" It came from, we had an actress involved with the film. She's briefly seen as one of the nuns, but unfortunately, she was going to play some other parts, and we had to cut those parts because of the pandemic. But one of her family members made those dresses, and we got very lucky because obviously the Miss Twin Peaks, but the floral dresses, we had to have 4 made. So we had 2 for Caroline and 2 for you. One of each for the blood, and one of each that would be clean. So
Mm-hmm.
anytime you wore in blood, you were in one dress, and when you were not, you were in the other.
I got to keep the bloody one, so I have that.
I have a bloody one too.
Yeah. Now, as far as wearing the, the Miss Twin Peaks dress, it was totally a privilege. Are you kidding? I mean, watching the show, and such a pretty dress, and it's so in its timeline too. It's very authentic, and it was great. I felt like I was there, and it really put me in that scene where, we see in the show her being led off, into the Black Lodge. And I felt like I kind of like got to step into that place. It was really special for sure. And
Well,
that woman
yeah.
who made the dress is very, very talented.
Yes, it was a different lady who made the Miss Twin Peaks dress. I still have that dress. It's hanging up in the closet. But the floral dress, you were in that dress a long time.
Yes.
And like it wasn't just kind of like a few days of that dress. You would be in that dress and then in other clothes, and then you have to put that dress back on and then other clothes. So you were constantly moving in and out of that dress, and thank God it fit you because it was made for another actress.
Well, I actually did. I used safety pins to make it fit.
I know, but it wasn't like it didn't balloon out from you.
There were no big fitting issues. I was able to, and I have some sewing experience myself and some costuming experience as well. Mostly educational costuming experience, but it did help with, being able to make little adjustments here and there where I needed to. Because yes, that was not originally supposed to be my dress.
Right. But I'm so glad you're in it. The movie would not work without your performance, I feel. Frame into focus says those pins held the movie together. Laugh out loud. You would be surprised of how much safety pins were used on this film.
I always had them with me. I had a big box that I took with me to every single shoot.
We used them almost on every character. So, all right. So I know we only have a few minutes left. If you have any last minute comments or questions, throw them out. We'll get to them. Okay. So Act 5. Again, we don't have a date yet, but it will be sooner than later. I promise you. We have one sequence left. We're finishing up the effects for. Okay. Act 5. It's the ending. It's the finale.
Here it comes.
Here it comes. It's the ending of this epic, not only film, but film experience, film project. I mean, this is a film that I got greenlit to make in January of 2018. You came onto the project in the late spring of 2019, I believe. I think it was like May-ish or so. And then, so 2019, we started filming, and now it's 2022. And keep in mind, there was a pandemic and all that stuff. So, yeah, so we do have a special guest here. Hello.
Hey.
Oh, I'm on.
This is Nico, of course. We all know him as Agent Cooper. But Nico, just hang on a second, because I almost said Annie. Maddie's got to wrap up because she's got to go, and then I'll talk to you in a minute. All right. So Maddie, what's going on in your world? Tell us about your music. Tell us about the band.
My world is mostly music right now. I definitely have been focusing on that. I'm releasing, with Alita Pearl. Me and my dad were making music, and that's being released month by month, one song a month. So next month we'll have a new song. We have 2 out so far. There are 4 in this grouping total. There will be more later, but and then I've been working on my own music that I will be recording later this year, and just getting it all together and making sure everything's ready and perfect. I know it'll never be perfect, but I've just been putting all my focus on that. So I'm really, really excited about later this year.
That's very exciting. And do you have any, people are really interested in how Queen of Hearts is going to wrap up. Obviously, we don't want to give any spoilers.
Oh, I know. I already know.
But how do you, all right, I'm going to set myself up for this. Will the audience that has been following along through Acts 1 through 4, what is your gut reaction you think they'll have when Act 5 is over, or they watch the entire film as one video?
Wow. I don't have any other word for it, because a lot of wondering how do I talk about this without okay,
satisfaction.
Yeah, exactly. Satisfaction.
Hopefully.
Yeah, thank you, Nico. And I think a little bit of surprise too. I do think there's going to be a little bit of, I didn't expect that to happen, but being happy with it.
Yeah, I will say this: it doesn't end Twin Peaks, right? Twin Peaks can continue on and all that, but it does wrap up this story. So anyway,
get excited.
Yeah, I will definitely say if you liked Acts 1 through 4, I think Act 5 is just the cherry on the top. That's just my feeling, but I made it, so what do I know? All right, Nico, you're here. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for showing up.
Of course.
Nico has not seen the he obviously was he's in Act 5 obviously, but he hasn't seen a lot of the stuff that we've seen from Act 5. And Nico, I think you're going to be pretty happy with your performance in Act 5 and how it's all coming together.
Well, that's good.
That's what you want.
Absolutely. So, Maddie, I know you got to go, so I'll let you go. But
oh, fine, Maddie. Whatever.
I'm glad
because I get here.
You hopped on before I left. It's good.
You're really staying in character, aren't you, Maddie? Getting away from Cooper. It's fine.
Yeah, whenever Cooper arrives, right, Annie's just running out the other door. Well, she's got to go because she's 3 hours ahead of us, Nico.
Yeah, so. It's midnight where I am. So.
And that's like breakfast for me.
Is that when you wake up?
I honestly have no idea what that expression meant. But
okay. I was like, so that's when you wake up. So
Evan says, Cameron, Madison, and Nico, you guys rock. Can't wait for Act 5. Well, thank you, Evan. I appreciate that.
You rock.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna let you go, Maddie. We'll talk soon. And Nico, we'll continue on for a little bit.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Maddie.
Hello. So glad you're here. If you guys have any comments or questions for Nico, he looks like he's ready to take some questions. So throw him out.
Boy.
So Act 4 is this is a big act for you because not only do you discover Caroline's body in front of the fireplace, you also come down the staircase in the t-shirt and Cooper boxer shorts. That's a big moment.
It was fun. It was freeing because I didn't have to be in the suit.
That's true. But I love the shots of you coming down the stairs because you look so much like Agent Cooper coming down the stairs, and then obviously with the opera music. And I remember talking with you. I think it was like our fourth day of shooting together, and we were shooting inside Cooper's apartment, and we were kind of just hanging out at the end. And I said, "Oh, you're really gonna love this moment where Annie does the suicide attempt and then Cooper finds Caroline's body. We're going to do it all to this opera music." And I just played you the song I was going to use, and you were like, "Oh, that's really going to be cool." So was it as cool as you thought it was going to be when you saw it all put together?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the music was like the cherry on top. I mean, we just added everything together, and the feeling, it was exactly what I expected and exactly what we wanted.
Yeah, it came out exactly the way we wanted. In the script, Annie was supposed to just completely destroy her bedroom, basically ripping everything off the walls and just going crazy. Well, we didn't set dress that room. We ended up going a different direction, so we made it more of a quiet, isolated kind of her sitting on the bed contemplating everything, which I think in retrospect probably worked better than just the standard freak out. So I'm glad it ended up going that way. Frame Into Focus has a question for you. It says, how much coffee did you consume in preparation for the movie?
Oh, I mean, cups and cups and cups, black, only black.
Andy is asking a spoiler question. We don't think we can really answer this, but says, now you have long hair. Do we get to see you as Mr. C in Act 5? We can't get into details about that stuff, but you obviously going back to your performance in the doppelganger scene, I think a lot of people were taken aback by that scene. And I think that scene really came out pretty extraordinary. You know, you and
it's one of my favorite scenes.
Oh yeah,
the grab especially.
Well, yeah, and we did a few takes of that, and each one was getting more and more like fired
Intense.
up, and I love because you grab her shoulders, and then Maddie does this like that. It's just like, you know, because she's looking up at you, and she's got all this intent, like just get away from me, and then you kind of just like snap her into it, and just like I'm controlling the situation here, and that just makes her obviously freak out for obvious reasons. Let's see. Sorry. Jamie says, my favorite Nico part in Act 4 is when he runs up to Annie in the lodge and tells her to deliver the message.
Yes.
Why don't you talk about being in the shoes and running in the lodge?
Yeah, like running out of my shoes half the time. Oh boy. That was I don't know why every time I didn't think about padding, you know, having extra socks to fill the shoes. I don't know why I just didn't anticipate that. I was too excited that day just to go in the lodge.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about that. You get to the set, you walk in, and I remember just like seeing everybody in like the Black Lodge hallway in the room, and all the actors that were there that day wanted to get their pictures taken, and you were doing selfies, and it was
the curtain.
It was super. It was a super long, hard day, but in retrospect, it's so awesome. I mean, the effect of it when you see it in the film is just like, oh my goodness, they're in the Black Lodge.
And then, I mean, that's what was so exciting because I think one of my favorite episodes, if not my favorite episode, is the end of season 2 when they're in the Black Lodge. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm here. Like, I want to do all my scenes just in this hallway.
But you got to be in the room too. And, but I love that moment where you run in the hallway and like, Annie and Caroline are looking at each other, and you run in the hallway and you grab Annie and just like, you know, go. And she's like, you know, taking it back. Yeah. And, you know, Charlotte, she had to come. That was her last day of shooting. Right. And she basically just had to stand in the Black Lodge hallway for a little bit. And I said, okay, you're done with the film. She's like, that's it. I said, yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's really exciting because obviously I was so happy with your performances and stuff in that sequence. But we also shot the front scene of Act 1 when the doppelganger pulls Annie out of the lodge with you running down. We also shot that day, which was a very insane day because she's screaming and you had to put earplugs.
Bring that up. Oh, I didn't. Wait, I didn't have earplugs. Wait, do we have earplugs?
No, you finally put something in your ear.
Because she broke my eardrum the first time, basically. Oh God, it was terrible. It was awfully good, but it was awful in here or here.
Right. Andy says, do we get to see any Twin Peaks locations in Act 5? Well, I mean, it is a Twin Peaks fan film, so I'm sure you'll see something. Jamie says, I thought your running in the lodge was perfect. It looked exactly like Kyle's. The energy is perfect.
Jamie's just too kind to me. That's it. That's all it is.
Well, I will say that you did study Kyle's movements. I mean, when you walk up to the door to knock when you first meet Caroline and you're walking up the pavement to the door, that is completely Kyle MacLachlan walking up towards the camera. It's very exciting. And then but like you have the same running of him in the hallway, and I just love the idea that, like, you know, that Annie and Caroline are there looking at each other, and it's like you talking about the end of season 2 being one of your favorite episodes. You hear the dialogue from season 2 echoing through. So it's almost like all these different moments in the lodge are converging into one. And you've already been trapped in the lodge, and you know, then you happen to come across them in the hallway. and you have no idea what Annie's talking about deliver the message, but you're just like, okay, well, I just gave you a message, so I'm thinking you're talking about that, and she's not. She's thinking she's got to, get a message to Laura, and out she runs and all that. So it's good. I know the Black Lodge was like your favorite day. You said that many times.
Oh yeah, I just didn't want to leave.
Well, I wanted to go home because it was we got there. I got there at 6 a.m, and we didn't leave until 7:30 at night. So it was a long day. But yeah, Act 5 again. We don't have a date yet, unfortunately. But again, sooner than later. But Act 5, there's a lot of cool stuff that happens in Act 5, and a lot of great scenes with everybody. And I think. Like I said, I think people will be very happy when it's over, because they'll either really love the film or they'll be so happy it's over. I don't know.
Yeah, no in between. It's fine. Well, and didn't you say there's also people that haven't watched it yet because they want to watch it as a whole?
Yeah. So when Act 5 drops, the entire film will also drop as one entity.
And the script?
No, I'll wait. The script will drop probably a day or two later, because I want people to kind of not read along.
Oh yeah, true.
Let's see. Jamie says, I am so jelly that Nico got to physically be in the lodge. I will say this, obviously, our film had a lower budget than Twin Peaks proper. I will maintain, though, that we have had the best Black Lodge recreation since the original show. I mean, that was the Black Lodge we were in. Because a lot of times you'll see like people doing little Black Lodge stuff for like photo shoots and stuff like that, and they look good for like background stuff, but it's not like you really need the space. You need the depth, and when you're as the doppelganger running towards Annie and pulling her out of the lodge or that kind of stuff. I mean, you start to see how long the rooms are and all that. And that's what we really wanted, is that feeling of like when they're in the hallway or in the room, to feel like you're in that entire space. And also we get a look at Laura Palmer too. She shows up briefly in the Black Lodge. So that's a lot of fun. Zombie says, do you hope the original Twin Peaks team sees this film? Do you want Kyle MacLachlan to see Queen of Hearts?
I mean, yeah. You know what would be cool, and I think this is gonna be a goal for one day, is to just have a picture of Kyle, like take a picture with Kyle,
right,
and be like, look, the two coops.
Well, obviously, of course, Queen of Hearts is a fan. It is a fan film. Although, again, we never approached it that way. You are the only other actor that has actually played Agent Cooper besides Kyle MacLachlan. So,
which it'll be like one of those pictures where, if you know, Queen of Hearts. You know what I mean?
Right. So. Exactly. Andy says, what's the running time for Act 5?
Ooh, that is a good question. I don't even know that.
I don't even know that. I think it's going to be probably around what Act 3 was, probably about an hour or so. And then you'll get to see the whole film together. And it will be watching it in acts is fun, a lot of fun. But I think that if you get to watch it as one giant film, it's going to be a completely different experience. Mm-hmm. Let's see here.
You better dedicate a Saturday. Like, this is what we're watching. 3 o'clock. 4
well,
o'clock.
No, the film is much shorter than what we thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be closer to 5 hours, and it's under 4. So,
oh, is it?
Yeah. But yeah. So if you guys have any last minute comments, questions, throw them out there. Nico, what did you think of Act 4? Did you watch it?
Of course I did. But I did watch it a long time ago, so I have to refresh it.
So Phyllis, who plays Annie's mom, the future MT Wentz, she told me that she was thrilled to see, obviously Act 4 getting a lot of praise. She said, I can't watch myself. I can't watch it. So I didn't know. I mean, some actors don't like to watch themselves. So, but I mean, she was very, very happy with, with people's reactions to it. Obviously, I think people are kind of surprised. I think a lot of our cast members thought, oh, this is going to be a fun little project. And I think they did it and they did a great job. And now that they're seeing like people talking about it, I think it kind of, whoa, like, oh, we actually made this thing. Which
Right.
obviously you and Maddie and I, we all, and Charlotte, we all knew that people were going to see it. But I don't think other people maybe thought that people were going to see it.
Right. It's just so surreal. Like to look back and just be like, that was, we finished filming this 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just like, whoa, a long time ago.
Exactly. But no, I mean, it's, I'm really, really thrilled. It's coming out great. And, it's hard for me to like move on to like another project while this one's still lingering. So I'm like, I'm so looking forward to Act 5 coming out so that, I can get started on a lot of the other things I've been wanting to do. But all right. Well, looks like everybody is asleep in the chat. So not quite as active as it usually is, but
it's because Maddie was here earlier.
Yeah. So what are you working on right now?
I haven't announced I just got cast in a show, but I haven't really been public about it. A stage show. So I'm going back to theater for a bit. So I'll be cast in Head Over Heels as a lead, which is going to be really fun. So I'm working on that right now. I'm going back to doing some Spartan races. My Talk Tuesday, ended not too long ago. So kind of just been going back to theater, getting more physical again with my races. And then I'm tentatively starting to write an EP with one of my buddies. So I got music in the pipeline, got some races in the pipeline. So and then I got a theater show in the pipeline.
Yeah. And then you also have Act 5 coming out. So that's good.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy couple months.
When does your, because I know you went to Hawaii to film something. When's that coming out?
That movie should come out, I'm hoping, the end of this year or sometime 2023. It should be hitting Netflix, hopefully. It's actually a sequel to a movie. If you guys have not seen Dead Season, that is the first movie, and it's only available right now on YouTube unless I think you buy it somewhere on DVD. But the sequel coming out is Dead Season 2? Day of the Dead. Well, it's like Dead Season 2, I don't know, it's a working title. It's not finalized yet, but I will be appearing in that. And see, I'm just gonna see if you guys can find me, because I was fortunate enough to get a featured part in one of the scenes as a gift, because one of my friends is the lead, and because it was like my birthday while I was there, so I did get a featured scene.
You're getting your SAG card for it or what?
No, I'm still gonna just do my non-union stuff, because I have enough to get my SAG. I just don't want to yet, because I don't want to be limited.
Right, exactly. It's kind of a double-edged sword. It's like you can go for bigger projects, but at the same time, though, like sometimes those are few and far between, and then you can't do the other stuff.
Right. It's like I'm not a big enough household name eventually, but it's just like once I become SAG, it's like, well, you're very limited unless you're like a huge star already.
Right. All right. So we have a couple questions. Again, if you guys have any last minute stuff, throw them out there. Jamie is here, of course, says, do you prefer playing Cooper or Mr. C? Now we can't get into details about too much about, I mean, let's just take the hospital scene of Mr. C and then the Cooper stuff.
I have a good guy complex, so I would say it's fun. I prefer playing Cooper, also because who doesn't love Cooper? I love Cooper. So I would say I'll take Cooper over Mr. C, but I do love also playing Evil. But I would say I'd have to say Cooper over Mr. C for that question.
Right. I mean, you did get to play sort of the romantic, role in the Queen of Hearts with you seducing, whisking Caroline off her feet.
Are you sure she didn't seduce me or whisk me?
It was mutual. Zombie says, when you first got cast, how long was it before you started filming? So this is interesting because you were one of the last people cast.
Wasn't I the last?
I don't know if you were. No, you weren't the
because
last. We had some other dropouts. We had some other dropouts, and other people got
right. But they were dropouts. But I was the last one cast before the dropouts started happening.
Right.
So
well, the last of the dropouts started happening. We had a lot of dropouts.
I think we had 2 after me though.
Right, but they were snatched up pretty fast.
Yeah, but I don't remember how long. It wasn't that long that we started filming.
No, it wasn't like you were cast in like June and then you had to wait like months. It was pretty. I think it was like. I think you were cast in either. I don't know. It was either. I think it was probably September, late August, early September, because you were filming in November. So
I think it was like 2 months.
Right, because you obviously binged seasons 1 and 2, and then Maddie and I went and shot the stuff in Washington, and then so you started with Caroline in November, and Charlotte. I mean, and that was the beginning of a long process. But it's funny in retrospect. It's like, wow, it took a while to make the film, but it's been a lot longer since we made the film. So,
right.
It doesn't feel that long now in retrospect. And I kind of miss those innocent times before the pandemic when we thought we were going to do some other things here. See, Andy says, any news on the DVD or Blu-ray release? Well, it won't officially ever be out on DVD or Blu-ray because of its fan film quality. However, once it's on, it's on YouTube now. You can download it and put it on a Blu-ray yourself. You can just burn it to a Blu-ray. But obviously, you'll want to wait until the whole film is done as one big video because as the film gets dropped, I am making teeny tiny little corrections along the way because sometimes YouTube kind of throws me for a loop and goes, "Oh, you're gonna make it sound like that. Okay, I better go fix that." But yeah. All right. Well, that's really exciting, Nico. I'm really happy for you.
Ooh, and me and Maddie are gonna do a crossover with a song. She just doesn't know it yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, her album and with her dad is coming out and sounding great. And in fact, it made me laugh because their first single was called Caroline.
Right? Yeah, I saw that. I was like, coincidence?
Yeah. I wonder. Inspiring. All right. Well, I guess that's going to be it, guys. But thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And Nico, obviously, you're going to have to come back for the Act 5 discussion, but you really got to come back for the commentaries because that's going to be a lot of fun. The cast commentary, which, maybe I'll be around slightly, but I'll let you guys do all the talking. I really want to hear you guys sit through the entire film talking about your experience.
You say that now and then watch when we go to do it. All of us are literally just like watching along as no one says anything. Oh yeah, we're supposed to be talking. I think it's really happening.
Yeah. Well, I figure if enough of you guys are in the same room, the same chat room, I mean.
Oh yeah. I'm sure if we get Charlotte, Maddie, myself, at least like 5 people, 6 people.
I think Larry has to make an appearance. I think.
Oh, Larry.
Yeah, you know, Paul, Sarah. There's a lot of people that I'd love to see come back. I haven't. It's been a long time since I've talked to a few of them. So,
you know, Larry's hair won't grow back.
What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
He got a huge bald spot like here.
No, really?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say I've seen pictures. He looks like he's back to normal.
He spray painted it.
Andy has a final question. Will there be more Twin Peaks projects after Queen of Hearts? So the answer is, in terms of a fan film, no. But if obviously if Showtime or CBS or Lynch Cross Productions contacted me and said, we'd love you to do something else, I do have something in my back pocket that I would love to do. But that's,
I know what it is.
But I think it's even more complex than what you even know what it is. But and I would love to do it, but I'm not gonna pursue it like by myself.
Right.
No, I have other things I'd like to do. But if someone wants to, officially, put up the budget for it, I'd be thrilled.
We'll do a King of Spades. I'm just kidding.
Andy says, "Do it." I will say it. It does involve characters from Queen of Hearts and Twin Peaks and original characters, and it's a big. It would be huge. I mean, like even bigger than what Queen of Hearts is, and I really just don't want to have to do that with just me and Maddie at location sewing things and making things, and I'd rather have a nice crew and relax and and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah.
Andy says, "What's the idea?" No.
No, because then someone's gonna take it. Showtime's gonna take it. They'll run with it.
I will say though, we did get a comment on Twitter today. Somebody said like, how's Annie? How's Annie? I wish we knew. And somebody responded back saying, some madman did it and tagged us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Some madman did it.
It made me laugh. Zombie says, do it. Live the dream. Andy says, live our dream. It's something where it wouldn't be like a single film. It would be episodic, and depending on the budget, it could be 10 episodes, 12 episodes, 18. You can make it however long you wanted it. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, I am not feeling up to making 12 episodes of something of something that I can't make any money on. But like I said, if Lynch Cross Productions and Showtime and them say, do it, we want you to do it, I will happily do it. But anyway, let's see. Jamie says, Madman, that's fantastic. See it as of course I see it as a compliment. I just thought it was hilarious to be tagged as the madman who made Queen of Hearts. But I'm really happy because even though the project was completely embraced and supported, and then the community, large portion of the community, Twin Peaks community, like turned against it. It's so nice seeing people embrace the film now that it's coming out, and people really, really love it, and those who don't love it seem to be staying away, so that's cool.
Yeah. Also, Jamie, special shout out, keep doing those watch along commentaries because I love watching them.
Oh, there you go. She should have you on as a guest, as the interview. That'd be fun.
Oh, I'd be too nervous.
Yeah. There's going. So we're apparently going to have another review next week go up, and then I think there's going to be another couple write-ups that come up soon. But I think once Act 5 drops, I think that's when people are really gonna get into it, because then the whole thing's done and they'll be able to see how it all connects and all that. So Andy says, I can't believe you've had pushback. I think it's perfection. Absolutely love it. Well, trust me, that makes me thrilled that you're the reason why I made the film. Just some people just don't. they see it as a front. oh my goodness, you're trying to tell Twin Peaks stories. And it's funny. Twin Peaks fans are fickle. So you never know. I'm sure you've seen
Can't
some.
please everyone.
No, but I'm just happy that Queen of Hearts is pleasing the people who are watching it and seeking it out and stuff like that. Because I mean, trust me, we didn't go into this project like, super cocky, like we're gonna make the best Twin Peaks thing you've ever seen. But obviously, we went into this, with a lot of love and a lot of humor and a lot of affection for the material, and we just wanted to make it good. And then when I got pushed back initially before you even got on the project, I was like, oh, this thing's got to be damn good because the trolls and the haters are going to be watching it too, and they're going to be wanting us to fall on our faces. So we really had to make sure that we did the best we could, regardless of, we just said we're going to just do the best we can. And I'm so glad the best we could do came out so great.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you one more question. Is the film better than what you thought you shot? Or is it what you thought it was going to be?
I mean, it was kind of pretty much what I expected. Like, that's the thing. Like, I didn't go in it. I didn't go in thinking like, oh, it's going to be a fan film, or, oh, this is going to be like this low quality. But I also didn't go in like, we rented $1,000 cameras or, like all that equipment. Like, I kind of knew what we were going to get into, and I'm satisfied with it. It's not like, it's exactly what I expected.
Yeah. I'm just thrilled that people really like.
Right. That was always the number one thing was like, we want to know that the fans are going to love this. We're doing this for the fans. We're doing it because we're fans, and we're doing it all paying respect and paying, lore wise. You know what I mean? It's like it wasn't something that we were just like, yeah, let's just do it.
No. Let's just throw it together.
Right. It was never anything like that. We never went in that way. And it's nice to see the fans that actually like it.
I think honestly what really worked in our favor was the fact that it was taking a while to get some of these effects done, because if it had just come out as one giant film in like December, I think that people would have really liked it. And then I don't know, maybe they go back to it. Hopefully they did, because I want people to go back and kind of put this on their Twin Peaks rotation when they watch the series. But I think releasing in acts has made it like really, it's gotten people really on board, because people watch Act 1 a few times instead of just watching it once and then going right through Act 2. It's like they watch Act 1 like a few times, and then they watch Act 2 a few times. So they're kind of like building that investment with the actor in the role as they go from act to act. So it's kind of, by the time they get to Act 4, they've already bought into you playing Cooper,
Right. And you get to dissect the content as you watch it, like in episodic form.
Right. And that was not intentional, but we didn't film it that way. But I just found the right spots to put the little pauses in there and stuff like that, and then putting some of that music. I mean, after Annie's in the White Lodge, to end it with D-Light's Groove Us in the Heart, it just cracks me up. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Nico, I wish you the best. Stay in touch, and we'll definitely talk soon. Act 5 will be coming out sooner than later, like I said. And make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel, and make sure to follow Nico on Instagram. How do people find you on Instagram?
Nico Meets World. I think there's underscores in between that. Or if you're already following the Queen of Hearts account, they follow me back. So just search their followers. I'm in there. I'm the only Nico, I believe.
Yeah, there's not too many Nikos out there that the Queen of Hearts Instagram is following. Andy says the musical montages are ace. Awesome. Jamie says, I think the chemistry between all of you has been amazing, and that's why this project is outstanding. And there is your Mr. C hair coming out.
I forgot people wanted to see the Mr. C hair, huh? It's super long now.
Absolutely. That's probably the longest you've ever had your hair short, was playing Cooper for.
I mean, if you see pictures of me, I've had a shaved head before, and it looked really weird. But people seem to like it. I don't know.
So anyway, make sure to, guys, you follow Queen of Hearts on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and go over to the Queen of Hearts Annie Blackburn YouTube page. If you haven't left a comment yet or thumbed up those videos, please do leave comments, because obviously the more comments, the more thumbs up those videos get, the more YouTube pushes them out there to other Twin Peaks and David Lynch fans. So any help with that, that would be really appreciative. So, all right, guys, have a wonderful night. We'll talk to you soon. Take it easy. Bye-bye.